Good morning. Welcome to daily current affair discussion. The first topic about the net NEET crisis. Recently, these two mega crises took place in Indian education system, for which much hue and cry has been created. So this article discuss on this. The national eligibility test and the national eligibility entrance test controversy highlights system failure and poor policy implementation over the years. Recurrent paper leaks, exam cancellations, incorrect results, and unexplained grace marks have eroded trust in the National Testing Agency (NTA). Recurrent paper leak and recruitment scam points to the lack of fairness in the governance, which is one of the four principles of virtue ethics. So there is question mark on the that fairness of the election, which lakhs of students depends. Their future depends upon these entrance examinations, but due to these type of irregularities, so they have started losing faith on the exam system. Okay. What is the detail about the virtue ethics controversy? Aristotle is one of the founder of the virtue ethics. Virtue ethics focuses on development of good character traits rather than on rules or consequences. He says that the human is a rational animal. Human has got the ability to reason. This essential characteristics of being rational leads to achieve a particular goal or end, which Aristotle calls virtue. There are four important principles of virtue ethics: fairness, courage, temperance, and wisdom. Doctrine of mean. Aristotle also said that virtue is a golden mean, that which lies in the middle of the two extremes. For example, courage as a moral virtue lies between the two extremes, namely cowardice and foolhardiness. So in between lies the courage as a moral virtue. Virtue are of two types. Intellectual virtue are that which can be taught and learned. Prudence is one such virtue. We can easily learn from others as to how to be prudent. Moral virtue can be achieved by repeatedly doing an action that become a habit. These cultivated habits lead to achieving ultimate happiness. So application to paper leak and recruitment scam in India. Fairness. Paper leak and recruitment scam represent a significant breach of honesty and integrity. Upholding honesty in academic and recruitment processes, ensure fairness and trustworthiness, which are essential for societal flourishing. Justice. So these scams create unjust advantage for some individuals, undermining the principle of fairness, ensuring just and fair practices in examination, and recruitment promotes equality and meritocracy, contributing to societal well-being. Impact on individual and society. Individual character and development. Engaging in or benefiting from such scam hampers the development of virtuous character traits, promoting greed and dishonesty. Social trust and cohesion. Scam erode public trust in educational and recruitment institutions, leading to cynicism and societal fragmentation. Okay, so these virtue need to be cultured by all, and so if that is properly cultured, this set of irregularities will be away from the system as is being predicted right now. Okay, then next topic is about the Financial Action Task Force or FATF. So the Mutual Evaluation Report of India adopted the FATF plenary in Singapore from June 26 to 28 meeting places India in the regular follow-up category, status shared by only four other G20 countries. The distinction highlights India's significant progress in combating money laundering and terror financing. So India has been doing this, that the government of India is always against this money laundering and terror funding activity. So FATF report, okay, is putting emphasis on these two. About Financial Action Task Force, FATF is an intergovernmental policy making and standard setting body dedicated to combating money laundering and terror financing. Okay, so objective to establish international standards and to develop and promote policies both at national and international level to combat money laundering and the financing of terrorism, because these two are the mega issues internationally. So money laundering and that money the income earned from money laundering is spent for terror funding activities. It was established in 1989 during the G7 summit, because FATF is a G7 initiative. G7 is the association of the industrially advanced and technologically advanced, financially strong and militarily strong countries of the world. So FATF was established in 1989 during the Paris summit of G7, developed policy against money laundering. In 2001, its mandate expand to include terror financing also. Initially it was for money laundering, but subsequently its activity was spread to terror funding also. Headquarters Paris in France. So FATF member include 39 countries, including the United States, India, China, Saudi Arabia, Britain, Germany, France and European Union as such. India became member of FATF in 2010. So India became member in 2010. Mutual evaluation report of the FATF. The mutual evaluation report is an assessment of a country's measures to combat money laundering, financing of terrorism and proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Okay, so that money so earned is spent for terror funding activities. Report are peer reviews where members from different countries assess another country. So the report is published as through the peer review. That means so some one country review the progress of another country. So this peer review is a strong mechanism in giving the report of the money laundering and terror funding activity of the FATF. Mutual evaluation have two main components: effectiveness. The most important part of a mutual evaluation is a country's effectiveness rating. During this visit, the assessment team will require evidence that demonstrate that the assessed country's measures are working and delivering the right results. Compliance: the assessed country must provide information on the law, regulations and any other legal instrument it has in place to combat money laundering and the financing of terrorism and proliferation. FATF has two types of list: blacklist, country known as non-cooperative country or territories those who don't cooperate with the FATF agency are put on the blacklist. These countries support terror funding and money laundering activity actively. FATF revise the blacklist regularly, adding or deleting countries. Three countries, North Korea, Iran and Myanmar, are currently in the FATF blacklist. The grey list, countries that are considered as safe haven for supporting terror funding and money laundering, are put on the FATF grey list. This inclusion serves as a warning to the country that it may enter the blacklist. So As far the news is concerned, Pakistan has been placed in the grey list for many times. So through it tried to improve its image. Okay, so Pakistan was in the past been put in the grey list. Consequences of being on the affected blacklist: no financial aid is given to them by the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, and even the Asian Development Bank and the European Union. They never give any financial assistance to these countries, those who are put in the grey list and the blacklist. They also face a number of international economic and financial restrictions and sanctions. In addition to economic consequences, black and grey listing damages a country's reputation and reduces its international standing. So the country's international standing is affected by this their inclusion in the black or the grey list by the FATF. So normally internationally their position get eroded. Understanding barrier in vaccine program, the next topic in 2024. Okay, so India's capacity to vaccinate has been constrained by many factors. India needs to address these factors to improve its fight against the pandemic. Background: India's vaccination program has been hampered by a short supply of vaccines, and this has dominated the public discourse. However, there is two other equally important matters that have been given insufficient attention. So, first, the capacity of our health system to vaccinate people. Second, public demand for vaccination, including the issue of vaccine hesitancy. Issue in increasing vaccination capacity. One, given the vaccine shortage, state government responsible for vaccination have been preoccupied with procuring doses rather than focusing on their capacity to vaccinate on demand. Okay. Two, the matter of capacity is currently blocked by oversimplification and lack of nuance. Issue that determine our effective capacity in the vaccination. So first, the capacity of India's sub-centers, the public health systems facility closest to village is called a sub-center. It is an extension of the PSC or primary health center where the vaccines are stored. Each sub-center is supposed to serve a population of 5,000. India has over 1,50,000 such sub-centers called the uh, wellness centers. Though the PSC, the first point of inpatient care and access to a doctor for most people, sub-centers hold the key to any vaccination program because one, they are closest to the habitation and designated to be staffed with people trained to give intramuscular injections among other things. To the capacity can only be determined by details at the sub-center level, that is the actual presence of trained professional, refrigeration facility at the PHC, and sufficiency of the ice boxes for distribution to sub-centers, etc. So second, the data entry requirement for the COVID are a very much needed task. However, poor internet connectivity across the country increases the cycle time for data entry. They deprive health personnel of significant time, reducing capacity. Third, problem with the basic operating models. In many places, India follows a people to vaccine model where people are expected to come to sub-centers. An alternative model, a vaccine to people model, where the sub-center staff go to village or mohallas and hold vaccination camp, can increase the capacity and the number of beneficiaries. Then antenatal healthcare, researchers have recommended that oral glucose tolerance test OGTT used to determine if a pregnant woman has developed gestational diabetes should be replaced by that HB1AC test that can also be used at the point of care. For the antenatal prenatal healthcare, antenatal healthcare refers to the medical and healthcare services provided by pregnant women throughout her pregnancy, that is antenatal. The primary goal of antenatal care are to ensure the health and well-being of both the mother and the developing fetus. Key recommended components of the antenatal health care: regular checkup and screening test, nutritional guidance, health education, management of pregnancy symptoms, monitoring for complications like gestational diabetes, emotional support, government initiative for pregnant women, that Janani Suraksha Yojana, a demand promotion and conditional cash transfer scheme for promoting institutional delivery, because earlier in India the babies are born in the home, but right now through this government ensures okay. So then Janani Shishu Suraksha Karyakram entitles every pregnant woman to free delivery, including for C-section in public health institutions, along with the provisions of free transport, diagnostics, medicine, other consumables, diet and blood. All these are provided free under the Janani Shishu Suraksha Karyakram, a central government scheme. Over 20,000 delivery points across the country have been strengthened in terms of infrastructure, equipment, and trained manpower for provision of comprehensive reproductive, maternal, newborn, child, adolescent health and nutritional services. Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matrutva Abhiyan provides pregnant women a fixed day, free of cost, assured and quality antenatal care on 9th day of every month. In the Lakshya Labour Room Quality Improvement Initiative to improve the quality of care in the labour rooms and maternity operation theatres to ensure that pregnant women okay women receive respectful and quality care during delivery and the immediate postpartum. Challenges with mental health care in India. The next topic, that maternal health care in India. Maternal mortality rate. United Nations report highlighted that India was among the top 10 countries responsible for 60% of the global maternal death, stillbirths and newborn death. In 2020, India accounted for over 17% of such death, making it the second highest contributor after Nigeria. Antenatal care, only 34.1% of the mothers attended 1, 2 or 3 visits, falling short of World Health Standards recommendation of 4 visits. Then postnatal care, 16% of the women in India did not receive any postnatal health checkup, while 22.8% experienced delay checkup occurring 2 days after the childbirth. Lack of skilled health providers, 80% of the Indian women did not receive tetanus shots, which are crucial for preventing infection during and after surgery. In about 11% of the cases, no skilled health providers were present at the time of delivery, posing risk of detecting and managing the complications. Then the next is the that UNESCO World Heritage Site at the Somnathpur. Recently, Tourism Department Karnataka has planned to promote the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Somnathpura, a part of the Mysore tourism circuit. So, the Hoysala temple, constructed in the 12th and 13th century, the tribe of temples include in the UNESCO list as notable not only for demonstrating the exceptional skill of their builders but also for narrating the political history that shaped their construction. The Chakan Keshav temple, Chennakeshav temple, the Chennakeshav temple devoted to Lord Vishnu was consecrated around 1117 AD by the formidable Hoysala king Vishnu of Vishwardhana to celebrate his triumph over the Cholas. Therefore, it is also referred as the Vijaya Narayan temple. The Kesava temple also a Vaishnava shrine, was built in Somanathapura in 1268 by the Somanatha, a general under the Hoysala king Narsimha III. Shaped like a 16-point star, it houses 3 shrines dedicated to Kesava, though the statue is now missing. They are Janardana and the Venugopala. Hoysala temple. The Hoysala temple, considered the largest Shiva temple constructed by the Hoysala, date back to the 12th century. UNESCO World Heritage Site. The World Heritage Site is a landmark or area that receives legal protection. Okay, so World Heritage Site is a landmark or area that received legal protection under the International Convention overseen by the UNESCO, established through the UNESCO World Heritage Convention of 1972. UNESCO designates these sites for their cultural, historical, scientific, or other forms of significance, classified as cultural, natural, or mixed heritage, meeting both cultural and natural criteria. These sites are considered of outstanding value to humanity. Criteria for selection as a World Heritage Sites includes uniqueness, geographical and historical significance, and special cultural or physical importance. Example of the that heritage sites encompasses ancient ruins, historical structures, cities, deserts, forests, islands, lakes, mountains, monuments, mountains, and wilderness area. Management. UNESCO designates these sites as protected area, managed and maintained by the International World Heritage Program under the UNESCO World Heritage Committee. Okay, the meteoroid strike on Mars. A recent paper release determines how often meteoroids impact the surface of Mars from seismological data from NASA's InSight probe. Publishing the studies published in the journal Nature Astronomy. Sources of data. The researchers used the data from NASA's Mars probe InSight seismometer, which could hear every single impact within the lander's range. Processed, the scientists tracked a particular acoustic signal which is produced when meteoroids strike Mars to estimate the diameter of craters and their distance from the inside. They then calculated the number of craters made in 1 year near the lander before extrapolating that a number across the entire planet. Approach. The study's approach was to listen to the internal rumblings on the red planet when the meteoroid strike rather than the previous approach of estimating the strike rate by images taken by orbiting spacecraft or models based on craters of the moon. Listening for impact seems to be more effective than looking for them if we want to understand how often they occur. Finding. It is estimated that Mars is hit by 280 to 360 meteorites every year, all of which blast craters bigger than 8 meters wide. This rate was about 5 times higher than the number estimated from orbital imagery alone. Also, it is estimated that a big meteoroid strike makes 30-meter crater on Mars about once a month. Significance. Future mission. This data is definitely a valuable source of mapping Mars, which will be an invaluable source when it comes to plan for future mission to Mars. Shortcoming of the imagery approach. Okay. Why is Mars a prime target? Closer to the asteroid belt, Mars is roughly twice as big as Moon and is much closer to our solar system main asteroid belt, thus being a prime target to large rock hunting through the space. Thin atmosphere. Martian atmosphere is 100 times thinner than Earth. Thus, the meteoroid does not break apart in its atmosphere like it does on Earth, giving it little protection. Okay, next is significance of the biomass breadcrute. Recently, there has been growing attention worldwide on sustainable solution to address climate change and environmental damage. An emerging trend in the supply chain sector involves utilizing biomass briquettes as an alternative fuel source for generating power and electricity. Definition: it is a compact block of compressed organic matter, raw materials, rice husk, groundnut, shell, sugarcane bagages, sawdust, coffee husk, jute sticks, municipal solid weight, organic portion. India's abundant biomass resources. India is a leading country for using biomass. The Power Ministry report that India has a plentiful and dependable biomass source estimated at 750 million tons annually, mostly from agricultural leftovers. What is significance of the biomass? Environmental benefits. Unlike fossil fuel, they are carbon neutral, releasing no additional carbon dioxide when burnt. Its adoption reduces reliance on fossil fuel, helping to mitigate greenhouse gas emission and support climate change mitigation effort. Waste management. By repurposing these residues, it contributes to waste management and carbon sequestration, enhancing their environmental impact. creation of job in rural area with abundant agricultural residues, setting of biomass briquette production units can create job and boost local economies. Supply chain resilience, biomass bricks sourced locally are less susceptible to external disruptions such as price fluctuation and geopolitical factors compared to the fossil fuel. Okay, so decentralized energy production, it contributes to a more resilient and inclusive energy ecosystem by decentralizing energy production and distribution. Understanding stability in power supply 2024. India solar energy price reduction needs other forms reform from the government to enhance India's solar capacity. For Japanese investment in solar energy in 2015, Japan SoftBank Group announced the intention to invest 20 billion in dollar in India in solar projects through the SB Energy. It seemed ideal for India, which abundant sunshine and a big potential market. The logic of large solar projects was always compelling. Further, India had about 4 gigawatt of rural and rooftop projects, but this rooftop electricity is priced 50% higher than power from the coal. Higher, 50% higher. Solar power cost trajectory in India. The Indian government has raised the solar target for 2022 from 20 gigawatt to 100 gigawatt. Price fell since 2015. This is due to cheap solar modules from China and increasing competition. All this led to the cost of solar power becoming half that of coal. This means solar energy is a slower playback infrastructure. Challenges in solar energy. The preponderance of coal will continue because the current annual tendering capacity is 6 to 8 gigawatt. This means higher cost and carbon footprint until the government is able to accommodate large scale investors' interest. India's market in electricity are rolled back, low and unstable price and uneven service quality. To bring about order and stability to electricity market, India needs investors with significant capital willing to invest. So then, because power is need is growing in the country, but investment in the power sector also need to be done in a faster manner and in a higher amount. So this can be achieved. So India's market electricity are ruled by low and unstable prices and even service quality. To bring out order and stability to electricity market, India needs investors with significant capital willing to invest in the Indian power sector. How to improve India's solar energy? India needs investors like the SoftBank with the capacity and willingness to invest in slower payback infrastructure. So India needs to nurture serious investors willing to invest in electricity and other infrastructure. India has to develop integrated stable services at reasonable prices. This this might not necessarily be the least cost in the interest of efficiency. This is what India need to drive the economy in a sustained manner to provide its foundation and fuel with its growth. Government policy and regulations need to be configured towards overarching objective that are aligned to at least not contradictory. Various streams within and across sectors must be integrated to converge towards objectives such as fuel sources and electricity generation. But this will require central and state governments to evolve integrated plans and develop interdepartmental coordination processes to steer the economy sector. A prerequisite to energy security is resolving the financial problems of state distribution companies, including payment discipline. Then come to the question: how is Indian concept of secularism different from Western model of secularism? So discuss secularism promotes the separation of religion from the state. In the Indian context, secularism means equal respect for all religions, with the state actively intervening to ensure religious harmony. For example, India celebrates diverse religious festival officially and also there is official holiday on different religious festivals of different communities. Okay, so in celebrates diverse religious festivals officially. In contrast, Western secularism, such as France, involves a strict separation between religion and state, ensuring that the state remains neutral towards all religious, exemplified by France's prohibition of religious symbol in public institutions. Okay. Difference between Indian and Western concept of secularism, definition and philosophy. Indian secularism emphasizes equal respect and support for all religions. The state actively supports various religious practices. For example, India's funding of pilgrimage like the Hajj subsidy discontinued in 2018 and the Kailash Mansarovar Jatra. Western secularism advocates for strict separation between religion and state, ensuring state neutrality. For example, the US First Amendment, which prohibits the establishment of religion by the government. Historical context: Indian context emerged from the need to manage a pluralistic society with diverse religious communities influenced by historical practices of religious tolerance. For example, Emperor Ashok's edict promoting religious harmony and coexistence. So, Western context rooted in the Enlightenment, reacting against religious domination over the state affairs. Because in Europe, prior to the modern state system, religion dominated their society. That's why their secularism is something different, but the state has no role to play in the religion. Okay, so French Revolution, which established secularism as a response to the church influence on the state. Role of the state, Indian model. No. So the French Revolution established secularism as a response to the church influence on the state. Role of the state: Indian model, the state can intervene in religious matters to ensure equality and prevent discrimination. The Hindu Marriage Act 1955, which reformed Hindu personal law. The state intervened in the religious matter. Western model, the state generally refrained from intervening in religious affairs, maintaining a clear boundary. The US Supreme Court ruling on the separation of churches and the state in public schools. A legal framework: Indian Constitution Article 25 to 28 guarantee freedom of religion while allowing state intervention in secular aspect of religious practices. For example, the regulation of the temple finances by the state. The Western constitutions prohibits the establishment of religion and protect the free exercise of religion. For example, the French law of 1905 on the separation of churches and the state, which emphasizes state neutrality. Social integration: Indian secularism aims for social integration by accommodating religious diversity within the public sphere. For example, public holiday for various religious festivals like the Diwali, Eid and Christmas. Western secularism seeks social cohesion by minimizing religious identity in the public domain. For example, France banned on wearing religious symbol in public school in 2004 law. Implementation and challenges: Indian scenario faces challenges like communalism and politicization of the religion. For example, the communal right in Gujarat in 2002 highlighted the vulnerability in India's secular fabric. Western scenario deals with issues like secular intolerance and debates over religious freedom. For example, the controversy over that Burkini ban in France reflects ongoing tension between secularism and the religious expression. Conclusion: Indian secularism uniquely manages religious diversity by promoting equal respect and occasional state intervention, contrasting with Western secularism, strict separation of religion and the state. In Western secularism, religion and state are strictly separated. Future efforts in India should focus on fostering inclusive policies and addressing communal tension to strengthen its secular fabric and ensure harmonious coexistence. Then come to the MCQs. Consider the following: Santiniketan, Dholavira, Hoysala Temple, Sundarban National Park. How many of the above are included on the World Heritage List? So all the four are included by the UNESCO World Heritage List. So some are cultural sites and some are natural sites. Okay. Like Sundarban National Park is a natural site, and rest are cultural sites. So India is one of the founding members of the Financial Action Task Force. No, India is not a founding member. India is joint actor because FATF started with the G7 initiative. FATF secretary is headquartered at OECD headquartered in Paris, France. Only two is right. Meteorites. These rocks still are in the space. When a meteor enters Earth's atmosphere, it is called the meteoroid. When the meteoroid survives its trip through the atmosphere and hits the ground, it is called the meteorite. So how many are correctly matched? Meteorites. So only one is correct. That is 3. India has been placed in the regular follow-up category in the mutual evaluation report of India by Financial Action Task Force. That does it imply? It implies that India is now subject to increased monitoring. No. India has been placed effectively list of jurisdiction. No. India has demonstrated a high level of technical compliance with effective standard and its anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing regime in achieving good results. So C is the right answer. So consider the following pairs: Geo-heritage site states, the Ambeni Ghat, Odisha; Akash Fossil Wood Park, Rajasthan; Saint Mary Island, Kerala; Lonar Cater, Maharashtra. Out of this, so only 2 are correct: Lonar Cater in Maharashtra and the Saint Mary Island in Kerala. Then Lake Natron is located in which nation? Lake Natron is located in Tanzania. C. Consider the following statement regarding the Mini Ratna status. Mini Ratna status is granted to public sector enterprises that have consistently shown good financial performance. So Mini Ratna status is granted to public sector enterprises that have consistently shown good financial performance. There are 2 categories of Mini Ratna status, category 1 and category 2, right? Mini Ratna category 1 PSU can incur capital invest expenditure on the project without the approval of the government up to 500 crore or equal to their net worth, whichever is lower. So here 1, 2, 3, all the 3 is correct. Which of the following statement about the methanol is correct? Methanol is commonly higher boiling point than ethanol. No, ethanol is used as a antifreeze in automotive appliances. So it is C, the right answer. So consider the following statement about the Space Maitri program. Space Maitri is a collaborative space mission between India and Russia. Focus on lunar. No, it is not India and Russia. Initiative aims to enhance satellite communication capacity for rural and remote area in India. Both are incorrect. So it is a consider the following statement about the biomass briquettes. It is a compact block of compressed organic matter. Unlike fossil fuel, they are carbon neutral, releasing no additional carbon dioxide when burned. Rice husk